start here. All right, I think we're ready to go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasano, joined as always by my good friend and NFC East aficionado, Mr. Scott Bracey. What's going on, dude?
Peter, I'm good. How are you doing?
Nah, can't complain. Never better, and have a lovely bourbon here to sip on. So things couldn't be any better. We're gonna be. Go ahead, please.
Before we start, I'd like to send my condolences and Peter's as well to Mr. Louis Mangano, one of our big-time listeners. Mike Mangano's father has passed away. So I want to send out love to him. As much as we like to fool around with him, he is very loyal, and he's a longtime pal. So we wish him and his family prayers and condolences.
It's funny you mention that because mention Mike, not his dad, but Mike. I was speaking to someone this weekend, and I was saying how we do have great listeners. We do have some great listeners. Some guys are tuning in from work every single time, listening the entire episode. Like, we're talking about listening stone cold for over an hour straight most times. No commercials, no breakaways, just an hour and 15 to an hour and a half of straight talk. And Mike is one of those guys that is always there. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and my condolences to him and his family. It's never easy. Both you and I are too aware of what it's like to lose a dad. So my condolences and prayers to Mike and his family. With that said, let's do what we do here. There's a couple news items that have come up today, or within the last couple days. Number one just happened today. Matt Milano, linebacker for the Buffalo Bills, back on the shelf, torn biceps, going under the knife. There's a chance he'll be back before the end of the season. They're kind of aiming for a December return, which would be huge if he can pull that off.
And if the Bills are still in contention, obviously, too.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know either. You never know because things change every year, no matter what we like to think. But if past history is, recent history is any indicator, we know that the Bills usually find a way as the season gets going and as the season gets late to be right there and playing some of their best football. So I hope that part is not the case, but I am one, no matter what, I'm as a Jets fan, I don't root for injuries to other players. I can't, I hate that. Number one, you want to beat teams at their best. I don't know that every player looks at it that way, but I sure do. I don't want to have like an asterisk next to a victory or something like that, or a certain season like, wow, you won, but Tom Brady didn't play that year, so whatever. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
You want teams at their best, and I don't root against players like as far as their health. I want to see guys do good, and him especially. He missed the whole damn season or most of the season last year with an injury. Man, these guys work so freaking hard. And then, something happens and it was in practice and now you're out for months and maybe the entire season.
And we said too, like when we did the Bills preview, him coming back, we're excited. The Bills defense is much better with their leader in the middle.
Absolutely.
And now
think how well they did last year and he was missing.
Brutal. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So we were trying to look at it legitimately, not as a Jets fan, but just as an analyst. Man, that team could have been significantly better. And you think of some of the moves they made in the offseason, safety, letting go of some safeties, some other defensive players, probably because they're thinking we got Milano coming back this year and now not for a while. And they're going to plug that hole again.
I tell you, I think we say this every year. We probably do. I know me and my friends say it. The preseason injuries, man, just are fucking piling up. And these scrimmages, these full-out brawls and these scrimmages leading up to the preseason games are...
Yeah. What's fascinating is that the players and the coaches, or really, I shouldn't say the coaches, the players are really the ones that would let fewer preseason games. But it's really not the games that they're getting injured in. Dude, this is a very difficult sport. It's a tough sport. This is not a contact sport. It's a collision sport. It's a car wreck on every play. And whether it's practice or a game, somebody else just fucked up their ankle
Jordan Addison from the Vikings.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. And it was a non-contact play. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you going to do? Like, you're going to just not have practice, just have classroom and just show up on Sundays and hope everything works out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
good luck on timing.
Yeah, you got to get after it. And sometimes that leads to injuries. So it's just a tough one. I do feel bad when I see guys like, when it was Mekhi Becton with the Jets, whether he was a good player or not good, but I just look at him like, man, it's just hard. You work for months in the offseason. First of all, you work for years to get to this level. And Mekhi Becton was a high pick. Was he top 10 pick at the time?
I think so. I think
top
6.
13 for sure, but it was pretty high.
Well, yeah, what was that? Yeah, now you got me thinking.
I feel like it was 8 or 9.
Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, maybe it wasn't that.
But you're a top pick, meaning you're an outstanding college player. You've been working to this your whole life. I don't even think Mekhi Becton is in the league anymore. And
yeah, mainly I just saw him somewhere.
He did sign somewhere?
Eagles.
Nice.
That's a backup job.
For sure. I hope he does well. I remember when he got hurt.
No, you don't.
I do. I actually do. I just don't hope he does well against the Jets. But I don't root for these guys to do it. And because I can't imagine what that's like. I've never lost an entire season. I played one season as a senior. I separated my shoulder and I missed 3 weeks. I can't imagine missing an entire season and then missing an entire season again. It's the back-to-back ones that are like really hard to swallow, man. Who was the running back for the San Francisco 49ers? Frank
Gore.
Frank Gore. Didn't he miss back-to-back seasons too? Like he blew out one knee and then he blew out the next knee the following season?
Yeah.
Something like that. It was just really rough.
No, he got hurt in college.
Oh, was it in college?
He got hurt in college a lot. And then the pros, he had like an 11-year career where he was never got hurt. That's why he played so long.
Okay. I just when I see these back-to-back injuries, back-to-back seasons.
No, I feel you.
Golly, I put so much. Never mind the rehab. I mean, even just I guess including the rehab. But you figure all that work you put in to be prepared for the season, on top of the rehabilitation for the particular injury. Man, it just sucks. It just sucks. So I hope him a speedy recovery. I just hope he doesn't play against the Jets. How about that? Anyway, the other thing that was big news, was it today or yesterday? Big trade. Was it today or last night? Yesterday. Was it Matthew Judon? Is that his name?
Yep.
Matthew Judon traded from the Patriots to the Atlanta Falcons. What are your thoughts on this one? Well, here, let me set the table for you. Here's why I say, what are your thoughts on this? All offseason before the draft, Atlanta was projected to probably select a defensive end, pass rusher, something like that, right?
Dallas Turner and
Dallas Turner was the name that really comes to mind. But you never know. Teams fall in love with other players.
Latu.
Right. So, but instead they take
Michael Penix Jr.
Thank you.
The
Michael
third.
Penix. And now here you are trading for a pass rusher. Your thoughts on that?
Who is a little long in the tooth, good player.
32, right?
I think so, yeah. I find it.
Look, he lost most of the season last year to an injury, so it's hard to project off of last season.
Let me reverse. Let me go to New England standpoint. Gerard Mayo is not fucking around here. Which
what do you mean by that?
I don't know if that's good or bad. Because Belichick didn't fuck around either, and I hope he's trying not.
What do you mean by he's not fucking around? Like he's just bouncing players that are
I think disinterested. I think if you're not all in, let's get you out of here.
Then you're all out. Okay.
Yeah, let's get you out. I think because that's a veteran leader, dude. That's a good player. Played on your defense for a couple years. On your coaching staff, you weren't maybe the DC, but you were on the staff,
right? So
you got to think there's a relationship. I think there is mutual respect there because I think that one video, he's going up to him, not dressed, but he's in camp. He goes, listen, if you're not in pads, if you're healthy, not in pads, get out. Contract dispute or not, I can't have you here distracting people. So,
right.
So I look at it like it's from the New England standpoint, too early to tell if Mayo's like Belichick or starting his own thing. For the Falcons, I think it's a great move. What they give up, a third-round pick?
Third-round pick, yeah.
And are they going to give him a contract? What's the story here?
Well, who knows, right? Like, I think he wants one, which was part of the reason he was being a fucking pain in the balls in New England.
Yeah.
But, you hope that they don't run now. Was he holding out? Was he not participating in practice?
So that one video, he was trying to hold out, and then the next practice, he was in pads.
Okay.
So I don't know missed signals or miscommunication, or he's
Or
trying
if
to
he just got shaken.
he's trying to set the tempo, and then Mayo was like, "You're not." I am like, so I don't know.
Right.
I think
Yeah, maybe it was a little bit of a power grab here.
a lot of back and forth.
Yeah. You hope for Atlanta's sake, you hope you don't run into like which I don't think they will, because the situation is so unique in New York. And we'll get into that in a minute. The Hassan Reddick situation, where you think you're getting a guy and you're going to work something out, and then things don't work out.
Yeah.
You don't want to see that happen for Atlanta, but you never freaking know. These things are always very fluid. So, but I do like the move. I think it's a smart move. I disagree. I hear a lot of people say, why don't you just do it? How many defensive ends come right out of college? Or I should say pass rushers, because sometimes they're outside linebackers. You know, they're all different. Yeah. Very few of them are that much of an impact player right out of the box. It usually takes them a couple years to grow into the mold. Now, that doesn't mean they won't have any impact. It's just if you're looking over the next year or two as Super Bowl contenders, which Atlanta very well may be looking at it that way, right? You got Kirk Cousins, you got some young stud skill position players, really good offensive line, and you're trying to improve your defense. And one way to improve your defense is to get that quarterback on the ground. I like the move. And third round pick, it's higher than people look at. People think, oh, who cares about a third round pick? Folks, your first, second, and third round picks, maybe even your fourth round pick, but definitely your first, second, and third, you're expecting them to be starters in the coming season, or at least major contributors.
Impact players,
Impact players. It doesn't mean they're going to be top end players, but you're expecting them to be on the field a lot. So you're giving up a future starter. But I think for their particular situation, it's probably a good move. I will say this, though. If you look at his stats from last season where he did play, for the amount of time that he did play, a lot of his numbers were fucking falling off a cliff. So something to be careful about, but I think it was worth the swing. Let's put it that way. I think it was worth the swing. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And frankly, if it doesn't work out and you lose a third round pick as a GM or a coach, you're not going to get killed for that. You know, it's a worthwhile swing on a guy who can get double digit sacks for you.
Yep.
So it's worthwhile. So I don't have much of a problem. The last thing before we get to the NFC East is I put out a video last night on Instagram, and if you don't know where to find that, you can go to Bump and Run Sports Podcast, or Bump and Run Podcast. Is that what it is? I think it's Bump and Run Podcast on Instagram, or Bump and Run Sports Podcast on Facebook. Just talking about, because something came to light to me that changes the way I look at the whole Hassan Reddick New York Jets situation. It seems like a small thing, but it could end up being a big thing in the long run. Do you remember back Le'Veon Bell ended up on the Jets some years back, whatever it was?
I do.
Do you remember?
How can I forget?
Yeah. Do you remember the situation, how it was with the Steelers? Because it ended up being a trade. Do you remember why it ended up being a trade? The way his contract was set up, and it's the same situation with Hassan Reddick. It's not a rookie contract, but it's something with the contract. Hassan Reddick, Le'Veon Bell at the time, last year of a contract. But if they don't play, the contract continues. It just goes to the next year. It's not always like that. It's not always the case. But in this particular case, if Hassan Reddick chooses not to play, and he's already being fined $50,000 a day, he'll get fined $700,000 per game check if for any games that he miss. So if he chooses not to play the entire season on this last year of his contract, with the Jets, was with the Eagles, now with the Jets, nothing changes in the offseason. He's exactly where he was this offseason with no contract, but you're still under contract with the Jets. It's as if you didn't even exist this year, and you still have 1 year on the contract, which gives the Jets, and this is the part I didn't know about, it gives the Jets a ton of leverage because they're in no position to rush. They're in no position to have to make a move. Like if you look at the Brandon Ayuk thing, I could be wrong, but if he doesn't play, after a year, he can maybe walk unless they franchise tag. I think this year was the franchise tag, but whatever. Like a lot of players, if they don't play, they sit, they can walk. So the team looks at that and says, better to trade him than to just let him walk. That is not that is why Le'Veon Bell had to be traded from the Steelers, and it happened so late as opposed to him just saying, screw it, I won't play, and then I'll walk.
I understand what you're saying. The fact of the matter is you got to get this guy some fucking football in him. Like
absolutely.
That defense is so good. He can make it a tad better.
I think he can make it a lot better, actually.
Yeah. I mean, what's this guy from Clemson 2 years ago? Does this guy have a pulse? What's it?
From Clemson?
Well, the guy you drafted. I don't know. Maybe
Iowa State?
from Clemson.
McDonald.
Yeah, that's where he went. Iowa State. Yeah.
Iowa State. Yeah.
Iowa State, Clemson. I don't know why.
I've heard good things this offseason, but that doesn't mean shit. Like this preseason, I should say, but that doesn't mean shit, right? Like you got to do it in a game. You also got to get a chance. He didn't sniff the field last year because they had other guys that seasoned veterans that could do a good job. It's not like they had a bad pass rush. They got after it. So.
The kid from Florida State, I heard, is having a good camp too.
Well, he played last year.
He's
one of their starters, so he's good. As I'm saying, like it's not
Jermaine Johnson.
Jermaine Johnson. I think I don't think it's good. Let me answer your question. I don't think it's a good thing or that it's okay that he's not in camp right now. Like obviously, as a coach, you don't want to have to answer these questions. That as a GM, you don't want to have to answer these questions. But it's different if you were stuck. You know what I mean? And I don't think they are. I think they're in a position of strength. So what I said in the video last night was my guess is maybe 2 weeks before the season starts or something like that, Reddick and the Jets will work something out. Now that something might not be the best. That something might be I believe he's scheduled to make $14.5 million this year, which is obviously he's underpaid, but that was the contract that he signed. He's probably worth somewhere between like 22 and 25 million a year as a double-digit sack guy, right? So my guess is they'll probably work something out as a stopgap, maybe get him an extra $8 million a year. You can load it with incentives and shit like that just for this year. We'll give you a big boost this year with incentives, blah, blah, blah. Work something out where he can make upwards of 25 if he gets 12 sacks, those kinds of things. Play 15 out of 17 games. And then in the offseason, he's a potential free agent. They'll have first crack, but he's a potential free agent. Or throughout the season, the Jets and his agent can see if they can work something out for next season. That's my guess what'll happen, because he's not going to just cough up $700,000 every Sunday for 17 weeks. He's just not going to do it. I can't imagine he's going to do that. No. So while obviously it's not a good look, you got Aaron Rodgers answering questions. You got Robert Saleh answering questions before and after practices. I'm sure they're all sick and tired of talking about it. My sense is something, maybe not awesome, but something will get worked out before the season starts. Probably 10 days to 2 weeks before first game kickoff.
One more preseason news. Unfortunately, Viking rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy, torn meniscus, fully torn. They thought maybe it was a partially torn. They could save it
during the game.
I don't know. He said he woke up Sunday feeling a little funny.
So weird. Meniscus is such a funky one. That's why a lot of times people don't even realize there's a real problem. But that sucks, because they were hoping it was a partial tear, which meant he would have been out 3, maybe 4 weeks or something like that. And you come back, which would have been fine because he probably wasn't going to start anyway. So you can come back and be part of practices, but not risk it in the game. It would have been good, but this one sucks. I'm a little surprised it's the whole season, because usually a meniscus tear, even if it's a complete tear, is not a full season thing, but maybe they've already decided, we're just going to shut him down. It's over for his rookie year. So he'll be there for practices. He'll watch. He'll learn.
We like what we saw in the game. We know we're going to practice. The teammate likes it. Yeah. So I mean, let's not double down on this injury. And I heard they were talking to Ryan Tannehill as a backup potentially, which won't be a bad move.
No,
I think so.
No, not at all.
Listen, sad, but I don't. At the end of the,
I feel terrible.
It's not the end of the world, but it sucks.
I feel terrible. It's just you get so excited.
You're not getting to work on the field, dude. I know you're going to be in the meetings and you're going to be hanging around, but it's not the same thing.
It's definitely not the same.
And you don't feel part of the team when you're hurt too. That's the big thing.
For sure.
Yep.
Did you ever miss part of the season? Oh, was it like your freshman year? Was
my whole junior year? Your first
was
year?
it junior year? Okay, when I was at
Yeah.
Bergen Tech. Okay.
Your first year at EP.
How much time did you miss?
I missed football and basketball season.
Oh, that's right. Okay. You played for me second year.
Torn patella tendon and meniscus.
Gotcha.
As we're on the topic.
Sucks. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
It's brutal. Yeah.
It's funny we just bring that up. I have a little question for you later on.
Okay.
About your sports career and what you would cherish more, we'll say, I guess.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Do I need candles or lights off, or
depends on how you feel, you know?
NFC East. We have moved over to the other side as we are both AFC fans. Last year's order, the Dallas Cowboys in first place, the Philadelphia Eagles hang on by a thread to finish in second, the New York Giants in third, and the bad Washington Commanders in fourth. Let's start with the local team, the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Just on the offseason Hard Knocks, I like what I saw out of Joe Shane and Brian Dable. They added running back Devin Singletary, guard John Runyon, and outside linebacker Brian Burns in a trade. Spider-Man, I think they call him. They lost star running back Saquon Barkley, safety Xavier McKinney, and tight end Darren Waller decided to retire. The draft.
Talk to me. This is the part that I was like, We talked about this after draft, but I'm just trying to give me a recap here.
First pick, 6th overall, wide receiver at LSU, Malik Neighbors.
Lovely.
Safety out of Minnesota, Tyler Nubin, 2nd round, 47th overall, who I love. And 4th round, 107 overall, I think it's a sneaky pick here. A little what do they call it? A little I'm drawing a blank. I'm not even drinking. Long day at work. Sleeper. Little sleeper pick.
Yeah, okay.
Theo Johnson, tight end at Penn State.
I do like that, yeah.
The schedule, October 13th, host the Bengals.
That's it, though? That's it on the... Yeah. All right, go ahead.
They got a couple more linemen, but who cares? October 28th at the Steelers. And December 15th, they host the Ravens.
Yeah, I asked you.
And basically, sorry, Pete, 1 second.
No.
Basically, they added the quarterback back, Daniel Jones, coming back from injury. I think he went down.
True.
5-6 weeks in?
Something like that.
Big year for the quarterback and the coach, I think, here, bud.
I couldn't agree with you more on that one. I asked you if there's any more because, God, the biggest problem they had last year was offensive line, and I fear it's – well, you got something you looks like you want to say.
There's a guy they got from the Raiders who got hurt the first day of camp, but it wasn't too bad, they said. And then there's another guy, too, they got, but I can't remember his name. But listen, the Giants have tried to address the line in the draft. They've just taken the wrong guys.
Yeah, they failed. That's the problem. Yeah, failing is bad in this league.
That's the rumor.
Yeah. So that's why you have a new regime. But I guess on some level you have to believe in Daniel Jones to believe that they'll have some kind of a resurgent season. And while I'm not one of those that looks at Daniel Jones and thinks he stinks. I am one of those that looks at Daniel Jones and says he's not one that can do it on his own. He's not a Josh Allen. He's not he is a Ryan Tannehill type player. I think he could be like a Jared Goff type player. And you say, well, that's a little lofty. Jared Goff was terrible when he was with the St. Louis Rams before McVay got there and they moved to LA. But you put Jared Goff with a top 5 offensive line, with a top 10 wide receiver, with a top 5 running game, and suddenly a top 10, maybe top 15 tight end. Suddenly, suddenly he's a top 5, top 6, top 7 quarterback in the league. All I'm saying is, I think Daniel Jones is the kind of player, if he did really have to, look at it this way, because everybody likes to say Brock Purdy, no good. He's a system quarterback, meaning he works because he's got so much around him with San Francisco. I think Daniel Jones on the San Francisco 49ers probably puts up pretty decent numbers, dude. I really believe that. I think with those weapons, his ability to run and their running game, I think
I
he
don't.
probably would.
I don't hate that theory.
I do. Right. So I think he needs help. I don't think he has enough. I am very intrigued though, because he has a real strong arm. He can let it rip. I am intrigued to see. It is funny. You put a Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow on Cincinnati, and things change very quickly. If you have a guy that can go one-on-one and can just beat guys deep or can just take over a game, it can change things, man. And it can also change opinions. So,
and it opens up the other guys too.
Absolutely. And then you talk about bringing in a nice, young, interesting tight end. And you have to acknowledge, I believe they have an exceptional head coach. So it comes down to, can Daniel Jones stay upright? Can they protect him? And then can he get the ball to skill position players?
Yeah. To the Dallas Cowboys.
Before you do, you asked me seemingly each week, are any of the coaches on a hot seat? Do you think Daboll is on somewhat of a hot seat?
I don't think hot.
You think if they go like
I don't even think
5,
it's warm.
6
I don't even think it's warm. You know why? Because I think I brought this up. With Tommy Cutlets, he kept the room together and they won some games. And he didn't lose the locker room. He didn't lose Saquon.
Is Tommy Cutlets still on a team?
He is.
Nice.
Hey, Bobby Mack.
I'm just asking.
What do you think?
I just think of the league the way it is and media the way it is. And if they got off to like a 1-5 start, you'd have to tell me their first 5 or 6 games. But if they got off to a slow start, they're going to call for his head. Whether the ownership listens or not, I don't know. Maybe they'll be a little patient, because I personally believe you got your head coach. It would be a mistake.
Yeah.
But losing is a bitch, man. I think of the movie The Natural, when there's that psychotherapist on there. It's like, losing is a disease. Like, if you're losing, no matter how good you are, even players will probably tune you out. Even if there's good reasons you're losing, they'll be like, this guy sucks. So if they do that, it's someone else's gain. I promise you, he will not be unemployed for a month.
Here's my thoughts. And Mac,
I would love for them to fire him. Jets fire Saleh. Jets hire Daboll. Oh, fantastic.
Dude, the Jets are a fucking black cloud. Stop it.
Stop it.
Matt can answer this better than I can, but you have to stop this 2 or 3 year coach carousel.
Well, did you think they were wrong for firing those previous coaches, though?
You know, Judge had a great first year, and then he was good the first half,
and
then
he lost his
wagon.
mind.
Yeah, something happened there. PCP's a hell of a drug. I don't know. The first guy, the guy with the bad suits, the Packer guy, he sucked.
Oh, God, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, exactly. That's how relevant he is.
Bad.
And then who was
probably
Shermer,
not even in Shermer, both of those guys are like bad. Not in the league anymore.
Yeah. McAdoo. Yeah. Shermer, bad.
This is what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
So were they bad calls or were they bad hires?
They got to be bad hires, but we don't think
hires.
Daboll's a bad hire. He's got a resume.
His
Alabama,
resume is Josh
Patriots.
Allen.
Yeah.
That's what his real resume. You didn't know Daboll before he was the OC for Buffalo.
Because I'm a psychopath.
Well, I'm saying people listening.
Yeah, sorry.
You know what I mean.
I do.
He made his name making Josh Allen, a stud.
So, I just fired Mac up for the rest of the day. Sorry, buddy. Have a drink.
Here we go. All right, who's next?
To the south, we go to the Dallas Cowboys. Big one here for Pete. I know he loves this topic. Big ad. Zeke Elliott back in the star. Loves it. He looks like a leftover turd, this guy.
You know what's interesting? I don't necessarily mind picking Zeke back up. Sometimes it's okay
to have another guy to go with.
You gotta have another guy.
Yeah.
I still don't think they have another guy. Do they have another running back in the room?
Very questionable.
Jesus.
And I got to be honest, after that, quiet offseason in Dallas, really weird.
Very.
Lost a ton. Running back Tony Pollard. Offensive tackle, your buddy
stop
now,
there.
Tyron Smith. Yeah.
I want you to stop there. Why did they let the running back go?
They didn't want to pay him. I don't know what he got in Tennessee, but
man.
I know. Crazy. I know.
It's just thin. That's all. It's just thin.
Tackle Tyron Smith now. Jet.
That's a big one.
Linebacker Leighton Vander Esch retired, neck injury. Yeah, it's a shame.
You probably had him 50% of the time for the last 2 seasons anyway.
Fair. Maybe even less.
Maybe.
Wide receiver Michael Gallup went to the Raiders, and then he retired. So the Cowboys just wear you down and go, you know what? I've had enough of football. I'm going to try pickleball. I'm going to try something.
You know what's interesting is you're seeing these guys are making more and more money. And the marginal guy or the guy who's got a couple injuries that are piled up, like Michael Gallup, he probably made, I don't know, I'm going to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 million over the course of his career.
That's probably a good number.
Which, you know, for an NFL player probably, or an NFL wide receiver probably isn't a lot, but for an average human is fucking fantastic. And after 7 years retires? Beautiful. Good for you. Like, I'm assuming he managed his money well, and it's like, fuck this. I don't need this shit. Constantly moving cross country, picking up my family. I got $25 million. Let's make something happen with this.
Yeah.
You know?
Draft offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. First round, 29th overall, Tyler Guyton.
I like that one, by the way.
People mover. I like it.
Is he going to end up starting?
I think he is. Yeah,
at left tackle?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Second round, 56 over out of Western Michigan, Marshawn Nealon. Guy's twitchy, good player, fast, good moves. They need another guy to go at Micah. Their other guys just inconsistent, and they got tired down the stretch too.
Yes.
New defensive coordinator in there now. Mike Zimmer comes back from being there like a long time ago, 15, 20 years ago.
He's an excellent defensive coordinator, by the way. Do not poo-poo that.
They get Travion Diggs back in corner. They lost him week 2 or 3 last year, so that's huge too. Schedule October.
Now you'll have I just want to say you'll have 2 quality corners because the kid that filled in for him did a fantastic job last year too.
Bland. And then they brought Gilmore back to play in the slot. I think their secondary is really
loaded.
Jordan Lewis is there too to play the 4 wide. October 13th, host the Lions.
That should be fun.
October 27th at the Niners. I don't think they've won in San Francisco in 100
years.
Ever?
Yeah.
Or ever. And December 9th, host the Bengals. That'll also be fun.
That'll be fun. Later in the season like that? Very nice. Interesting.
And listen, man, and you want to talk about hot seats, it doesn't get hotter than this.
No, absolutely, which is fucking fascinating because McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys have won 12 games 3 seasons in a row. Could you imagine that we're talking about Mike McCarthy is on the same hot seat basically with Robert Saleh on a Jets team that hasn't made the playoffs in 14 years, and you've gone 12-5 for 3 straight seasons?
That's the same world we're living in, right? It's
your
crazy.
Only time as a coach. By the way, McCarthy was available to the Jets. They chose to go with Robert Saleh. I'm just putting that out there. That's
when you make it sound like that, dude. Oh my God.
Well, I say it because I actually advocated for Mike McCarthy. I'm not even necessarily the biggest Mike McCarthy fan. I just think he's a pro coach. He's a good coach. I don't think he's great. I think he's good.
I don't think he's bad.
I don't think he's bad. Yeah, I think he's good, not great. And you could do worse. 3 years in a row. How many teams in this league would murder people for that? I mean, seriously, how many teams have done that? Think about that. Forget about how many teams would want that. How many teams have done that? You can't even say that about the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow. You can't say that about Josh Allen with Buffalo. You can't say that about a lot.
You could say it to the Ravens, right?
12? I don't think they won 12 last year, did they? I think they won 11.
11, maybe you're right. Yeah. Well, so 11's no joke either, though. Let's be honest.
No, it's not. But 12 is better.
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
And 12 is more than 11.
It comes down. I know we're really breaking out the
Sesame Street here, huh, right? Folks? All right, maybe
I'm not just a gym teacher, so it's weird to me. Here's why I say that: you just assume that the next guy you hire is better, and in some places it often does work out like that. And then in some places it doesn't. Like we just mentioned the Giants. The Jets can certainly attest to the fact that just because you hire the new guy, he's not better, Adam Gase. So there's lots of situations where you're going to make yourself worse. The bigger question to me is not Mike McCarthy. The bigger question to me is signing your elite players or not signing your elite players. You got Dak, you got Micah Parsons, you got CeeDee Lamb. that are not
CeeDee Lamb not in camp,
holding out. Yeah. So those are bigger questions to me. I don't know, and I don't have answers for him. It's a tough one. Everybody's like, "Don't give him the money." If you listen to ESPN, all they tell you is you got to give this guy the money. Well, okay, so you give 3 players 30, 30, and 60, and now you got to pay 50 other guys with $130 million
with Cheez-Its and Oreos. Good luck.
Yeah, just like, what are we talking about here? It's so easy to do. This is what I would do. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, because you can't. You just can't, dude.
Speaking of ESPN, moment of silence. They fired Sam Ponder today. Very sad. Very nice to look at.
Oh, very nice to look at. And interestingly, one of the only personalities on ESPN that vehemently stood against biological men competing in women's sports. I'm sure that's a coincidence. Yeah, I'm sure that's a coincidence, by the way. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
She sucked on Sunday countdown. Anyway.
Oh, I think she was good. I think she was good. Oh, with the short skirts. That's
fun to look at, man. I mean, just get a calendar.
Oh, you're there for mouth or words? Who gives a fuck? When
I'm on Countdown. I watch Countdown for
He's only throwing fucking opinions around to Rex to this. I don't care what you say.
Jesus Christ.
Anywho,
you're such a guy.
To the Commanders with Dan Snyder. No,
chauvinist.
No, listen, I'm
hardly.
I'm being a little playful, but
I don't like hot chicks either.
Yeah, really. All right, stop. You're gonna make me say something. To the Commanders, they added tight end.
I read it for the articles.
Yeah, exactly. Long walks on the beach and moonlights.
Oh, shit.
Commanders sure. Tight end Zach Ertz, who I think is older than you.
Nice one. I like it, though.
Right, me too. Running back.
Rookie quarterback, yeah.
Running back Austin Eckler. Linebacker Bobby Wagner. These are great players, but I don't know how much they got left in the tank.
Yeah.
Here.
Are they? That's the question.
If they're trying to add leadership for a year or two and set the tempo, I don't know. I think Wagner with Dan Quinn's defense, I think that's a good.
He's a Dan Quinn guy back in the Seahawks days, for sure.
He'll set some stuff there in place. They lost quarterback Jacoby Brissett, who we think is one of the top backups in the league.
For sure.
Running back Antonio Gibson. Draft, first round, second overall. Quarterback Jaden Daniels.
Love him.
Defensive tackle out of Illinois, Jerzon Newton, second round, 36. Love him. He's gonna play. He's gonna plug and play. He was an All-American in Illinois, a 5-7 Illinois
something.
Team. That's all you need to know.
You got to be really good.
The fact he made it to the second round, dude, they were probably salivating.
Yeah.
Another guy they really like, who I know you like a lot too, Michigan corner Mikey Sanders still.
Yes.
All he did was make plays at Michigan, change positions. He could do it all. Great kid.
By the way, that changing position thing, that says something about the man.
Correct.
It's not just
versatile, athletic,
which is nice. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely nice. It'll probably prolong his career. You know, you could pull a Woodson and go from corner to safety at some point later on or something like that. But it says something about the kid. Number one, he okayed it. He went along with it. And number two, he excelled at it. Hello? Like, get me 22 of those fucking guys, and you're going to be just fine. Freshman
year at Michigan, played wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner. Junior year moved to nickel and then corner, and then was an All-American, and now a national champion. And look what it shows.
Phenomenal.
I tell you, stuff like that it seems to work itself out when you're unselfish. It just one of those things, man.
Absolutely.
They had 3 picks in the second round. The third one, tight end Ben Sinnott out of Kansas State. Really good tape on this kid.
Player. Yeah,
and he can learn from Ertz too. That's a win-win right there.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell you, I like where the Commanders are going. They made some moves, kind of like where the Texans had. They've kind of done some stuff here where interesting.
Yeah.
Schedule September 29th at the Bengals, October 13th at the Ravens, and November 10th they host the Steelers. I can never remember the Steelers playing in Washington. It's one of those like games where you're like, you just don't remember like what.
Yeah, quirky scheduling. So one of the things that I just constantly go back to, because it's always like, where are you at now? I am constantly brought back to Dan Quinn's press conference when he was first hired, and he was asked about, like, you were head coach of Atlanta, then you're with Dallas, and now here you are with Washington. What's the difference? And the his ability to speak so humbly about messing up, learning from my mistakes, and not making those mistakes again, and having some faith and trust in the people that I hire to do their job. It just was different. It was actually very refreshing from a head coach being hired. Most of the time, I think what's expected of head coaches is you're supposed to be the end all, know all, be all in all aspects of the game. And he spoke so openly and clearly about how he messed up and what he wants to do now and not making those mistakes again. And to me, that says a lot, because I thought he was a decent head coach, but not a great head coach. But his willingness to look back honestly at the job he did and say, I'm not going to make those mistakes. I see what my mistakes were. He's not so stubborn to say, it wasn't me, it was this and that. No, I messed up here and there. I'm not going to do that again. And I'm going to trust some of the guys that I hire to do their jobs. I don't know. It's refreshing in a way and exciting in a way.
Humility in a generation where that's very rare.
Very rare. Yeah. So like everything that happened, and if you look at everything that happened since his hiring, it's all been positive. It's all been positive.
I agree.
You go out and get
bro. Yep. I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like everything works and you land Jalen and you just
Cliff Kingsbury, for those who don't know.
Yeah. I just,
by the way, those two guys are going to be so good together. Daniels.
Oh my God. Exciting defense, exciting offense. Like, forget about it. So,
would you be shocked if he's better than Caleb Williams?
No, listen, you go back to the draft. I said I would take Jalen, what the fuck's his name?
Daniels.
Yeah,
Jaden
Daniels. I would take him over Caleb because he's bigger
and there's less like weird shit. Like, let's be honest,
he's just not an oddball. He's not an oddball. So, but he's just bigger. I think he has a strong arm. I actually think he's faster and more athletic. So now maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I don't necessarily believe this, but maybe he doesn't have that something special, something that Caleb might have. I don't know. I personally like Jaden Daniels better. So, yes, I would have taken him instead.
We just started. Hard Knocks just came on in season with the Bears. There's something with him, dude. I can't put my finger on it. There's something
So you know what I get the feel? It's not the same. I'm not trying to say he's like this, but
Jamarcus Russell?
No. You know how, like, by the end in Seattle, everybody was so sick of Russell Wilson with the Hawks.
That's really good, dude.
Positive. Like, it becomes across as fake and weird. It may not happen right away, and if they win right away, it won't matter right away. But as soon as things get odd, that's when you start looking at a guy like you start side-eyeing a guy and you start being like, what's with you, dude?
Caleb, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like, enough of your bullshit. You go pick up the fucking garbage. Like, the story was out there that he was like, come on, guys, there's garbage all over the place. Come on.
Dude, and Amani Toomer lost it. You hear what he said?
Mm-mm.
He's like, dude, I'm a fucking 9-year veteran. If I'm Keenan Allen, you're telling me to pick up the garbage. You just got here. You pick up
you pick up the garbage.
Yeah, dude, you earned that shit. Like, and Toomer's like, I'm not saying I was a bad veteran or a bad, but dude, you don't come in.
Right, you gotta be careful
and start throwing orders around.
Right. There was some people that were like, "Hey, it's a great thing. He's shown leadership," and a lot of guys might not like it at
on the field. Don't do that in the locker room.
They might not like it at first. They might not like it at first, but later on, and be like, "All right." That might be true. They might eventually come to like that. But you better win and you better play really well, because if you don't,
correct,
you're gonna have guys, defensive linemen, that are going to come over with an entire fucking barrel of garbage and dump it right at your feet and say, you fucking pick it up, asshole.
Right in your locker.
I'm tired of cleaning up your messes on the field so you can clean up my mess right here in the locker room. Suck it. Got to be careful, man. You got to fucking be careful. And he is a weird bird. And Jaden Daniels is not. If you hear all the reports, and I mean reports from reporters, not from players, like this kid is loved. One of the coolest things I heard, I'm sure you heard the same report, he audibled on a play on his own, even though the coach pretty much was like, don't audible out of it. He was like, and they were like, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. And he made a fucking play, and it was like, no. Okay, great job. Like, it was one of those kind of plays. I just think there's something about him that's special and unique. He does it with a smile too, which I fucking love. So There's a lot to like there, and as I've said in the last couple of years, I think I've overrated Washington, and I think I've done that because there's a lot of talent there. Now they haven't had a quarterback. I thought maybe they'd get better quarterback, and they did at times.
Yeah.
Sam Howell played really good at times and really bad at other times. There's a lot of talent there, man. Don't be surprised if this team comes up with some really strange upsets and shit like that. Like they may not have the greatest season overall, but then at the same time, then they end up beating, like, I don't even know what you talked about the schedule. Maybe they beat like the fucking Ravens and the Niners or some shit like that, because there is a lot of talent. And if it just gets on the same page for a certain day, look out. Like, look out. There's a lot there.
My buddy and I were just talking about Russ, too, like, to your point. There's a reason why at the end of that tenure there, Marshawn Lynch, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, they couldn't stand him.
Couldn't stand him.
Like, they're like, this guy, like, it just, there's enough.
You can't be weird like that forever. Like, you can be weird like that if you're winning. Yeah. Nobody gives a shit, right? Aaron Rodgers is a perfect example. When you're winning, people tolerate all kinds of stuff. Ocho Cinco, people tolerate all kinds of stuff. Start losing games or be mediocre. Nobody wants to have nothing to do, and you're going to point all their fingers at
the whole fucking his own office, too. Like, dude, you can't. You can't.
I'm going to say this one last thing, too, about Jaden Daniels. Just remember, there was a game this year where he accounted for over 700 yards of offense. He threw for over 400 and ran for 300. Like, I remember texting you and like, did you see this?
Yeah.
This was against SEC competition, too, if I remember correctly.
You are correct.
I'm like.
Was it Ole Miss?
I don't remember who it was. I'm talking like 70-yard runs. Like, he's fat. This kid is dynamic. If you think you're going to see special plays out of Caleb Williams, you wait till what you see out of Jaden Daniels. I'm telling you.
We'll get to the Eagles in a second. I tell you, I know it's very early. Please do not hold this to my throat here. But the early returns on this whole rookie quarterback class is pretty good. Dude.
Pretty good. You think even like a J.J. McCarthy, who you mentioned earlier, like, dude, he had a fucking phenomenal game.
Phenomenal. And Bo Nix, great too.
Mobile, moving all over the place, hitting the right guy, pushing the ball downfield.
Fourth down conversions going to the right.
Holy shit,
Justin Jefferson on the bench going, oh my God, like, thank God. Like,
yeah, this is great. Like, and Bo Nix looked great. Yes, be perfectly clear. Vanilla coverage, no game planning. I get all of that. But you didn't see that out of like other rookies. Like Zach they all look a little.
Josh Rosen,
Josh Allen.
Some
of the guys that are good now
Broncos
didn't look
to the
like
cows
that.
Come home, fucking didn't look that good.
So it's really fun to see.
Drew Lock still can't read a coverage. He's been
and he's in the booth.
Jesus Christ. Last one, the Eagles. They added running back Saquon Barkley, defensive end Bryce Huff. Sorry, Peter. And middle linebacker Devin White, who we like a lot. Leader, great player, sideline to sideline guy. They lost speed. They lost two guys to retirement: center Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox, defensive tackle Fletcher. I think both Hall of Famers at the end of the day. Defensive end Hassan Reddick. Peter, I apologize again. And running back DeAndre Swift. They drafted. I think their draft was very deep. Had a lot of picks for a team that's very good every year. First round, 22nd overall out of Toledo, cornerback Quinyon Mitchell. Second round, cornerback.
Which is, by the way, just to say, they needed corner help like nobody else in the league.
And that's their first two picks. Cornerback out of Iowa.
It was rough.
Cooper DeJean, who, remember, we liked a lot, got hurt at the end of the season last year at Iowa.
Yep.
Return man 2. Now they're bringing return mans back. I think he could make some plays early if they don't want to play him right away at corner. And I think a great backup running back out of Clemson, Will Shipley in the 4th round.
Yeah, I like him a lot, yeah.
I think he fits in right with Barkley, too. Can catch, can run, like, very good player. I think the Eagles had a phenomenal draft.
I could see him being like that. Oh, shit. Where's this?
Down.
I could see him being like that Edelman kind of, like nobody's paying attention to him, and here he is
sneaking out of the backfield, something like that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Opening Friday in Brazil, they play the Green Bay Packers. October 27th at the Cincinnati Bengals, and December 1st at the Baltimore Ravens. Peter is putting his headphones back in as we speak.
Sorry about that.
I think he spilled his bourbon. God forbid. That'd be a
No, I just
travesty.
want to make sure there's no emergency.
Listen, I think they got the quarterback and the head coach on the same page this year. That's all the rumors coming out. They have their wide receivers signed.
Who's the new OC?
It is Mr. Kellen Moore from Cowboy fame.
You got to think this is a major upgrade.
I definitely agree with that.
Listen, I like Kellen Moore. Everybody told me last year when he went to, I want to say San Diego, to the Chargers.
Yeah, it's San Diego. That's always okay on this show.
It's just, to me, it's just always San Diego. Spilling whiskey is a criminal offense, Bobby Mack, so I appreciate you being on top of things.
Some would call that alcohol abuse.
I didn't spill it. It's right here. But it didn't pan out to be amazing. Like, I look back
dude, that fucking head coach was so in over his head.
What are we going by to say that Kellen Moore is a fantastic OC?
Just like you saw McCarthy in Dallas, 12 wins.
Was it
offense.
McCarthy or was it him?
You had to think his hands were in it a little bit, dude. I mean, the Chargers last year were a nightmare. Eckler got hurt. Herbert got hurt. Remember the broken finger? Keenan Allen's 100 years old. Mike Williams again not healthy. No tight end. Listen,
regardless,
I'll stick up for him right now. If he shits his pants again this year with a great offense, I'm off.
Okay,
I'm off.
It's an upgrade regardless. I'm
Brian Johnson wasn't ready to call play. I think the skeptic.
It's an upgrade. I just don't know how much yet.
10 minutes ago, you're like, it's a huge upgrade. Now you're like, ah.
I think it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. I'm just asking you, like, are we so sure? I think Cliff Kingsbury is an upgrade. I don't know about.
Dude, I think totally. But I think him and what's coach? Sirianni. I think they will work good together. I think Staley was such a fucking nightmare, dude. I can't stop saying it.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Dude, the guy was going for it on 4th and 7 on his 30. Like
weird.
Of course, his OC is going to struggle. Who's got that play in this playbook?
Look, the reality is, if he's just a good offensive coordinator, they are loaded with talent.
Loaded.
I'm going to tell you two things that one you'll probably agree with and one you probably won't. Number one, this one you'll agree with. Losing Kelsey is a big deal.
Huge deal.
It's a big deal. Now, they got weapons all over the goddamn place.
Got to protect to get them there.
But that's a big one, dude. That's a really big one.
I heard Kelsey on some show say like he groomed like the next center and stuff, and he goes,
whatever.
I know he's no joke.
He's got to go out and play.
Blah, blah. Yeah.
I
know. I agree. But listen,
the other
what
thing
is he going to say too, right? Like this kind
of course. He's going to say, the guy after me kind of sucks. They're going to struggle. I guarantee you I'm in the minority here, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know that Saquon Barkley is going to be the big fucking difference maker that everybody thinks he is.
I think year one he's going to be good. After that, I don't think so. That's my opinion. And I don't know why I base that on, but I just don't think. I think he has a chip on his shoulder now. Wants to fuck the Giants in the division. Still hates the Cowboys. Blah blah blah. I think all
that's true.
I think he's got some gas in the tank left now. I don't know. And listen, again, if the Eagles fall apart against second half, Sirianni, whatever, it's over.
Listen, if they fall apart first half, we'd have to look at their schedule like to really break down game by game. But I just, he gets hurt all the fucking time. He's always banged up, even if he is playing. I just don't know. I don't know. We just, if you watch television, if you don't listen to us, or if you listen to us and watch TV, you hear us tell you like reality, and then you hear like, it's Saquon Barkley. You would think he rushed for 2,000 yards and caught for 1,000 yards and 27 touchdowns between the rushing and receiving for the last 5 years. Like, you would think he's Tyreek Hill. Like, he's not, folks. He just doesn't. He's very rare. He's not always available, and he doesn't always. Now, you can say, well, it's because he's on the Giants and they're not good. Okay, I mean, maybe that's true. I'm just saying I'm not so sold and convinced that this is like, holy shit. DeAndre Swift was a pretty goddamn good running back, right? Like, Saquon's that much better? You know that he's that much better? I don't know that.
I agree with you.
I just don't know that. But I think this is a good football team.
I do too.
I think this is a good football team. They're not going to have another meltdown in the second half of the season. But when we talked maybe last week or 2 weeks ago about teams that need to get out to a quick start, this is definitely one of those, because if they get off to like a 1-3, 1-4 start, 2-4, 2-5, something like that, Sirianni isn't going to make it to Thanksgiving. Like, he might not make it to Halloween. I'm just saying, if they get off to a slow start, because then everyone, including the media, and I'm telling you, living down here, the Philadelphia media is brutal. They hate everybody. They hate you when you win, never mind when you lose. If they get off to a slow start, they're going to be calling for his fucking head. There's too much talent on his team to get off to a slow start. You can't. And they'll look at that as a continuation of the end of last season, and they'll get slaughtered for it. Yeah. Slaughtered. It's just hilarious to me that 2 years ago, this guy was in the fucking Super Bowl. He was looked at as like one of the great young coaches in the league. So smart and clever. He's got the ear of his players. And now he doesn't know what he's doing. He's an idiot. It was all Steichen. It's just so funny how that changes, man. It really is something.
Peter, would you like to give the order in which you think they're going to finish?
I have no problem with that whatsoever. I think the Giants are the worst team in the league by far. I think they'd be lucky to win 6 games this year, so I have the Giants in last place. I have the Commanders in third. Now, Daniels is a rookie, new head coach, new GM, new owner, new OC. Everything's new. You're not going to hit home runs out of the box when everything's new. But I think that most people are going to look at Washington as must-watch TV week in, week out, because they have some really interesting things available to see. And I just think that having watched Jaden Daniels play with LSU and Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly down. Man, you put some smart, clever people around him. He's fucking fun to watch, dude. So I think they're going to be the kind of team that even if they're not necessarily winning a ton of games, you're going to want to watch them, and you're going to see throughout the season, like, God, man, if they can just fix this and get somebody here and work on this, and Jaden Daniels gets some experience, fun. It's going to be a really fun team to watch. So I got Commanders in third, because I still think the Cowboys, who I have in second, are a better team than them. You have a veteran quarterback, veteran wide receiver, who I have to believe at some point will end up playing. He's not going to – CeeDee Lamb's not going to sit out. Micah Parsons, who might be the most dangerous player on the defensive side of football in the entire NFL. Love some of the points that you brought out about the corners, the defensive backs that they have there that can make life. So you're going to combine a pretty damn good pass rush with an excellent coverage.
Yeah.
Good combination. I'm curious as to how many points they're going to score this year as opposed to last, but it's still a very, very good defense. And I got the Eagles still winning the division. I think they're the most loaded team top to bottom. I think Jalen Hurts has a lot to prove this year. If you really look at his last 6 years, he's had really one great year. He's had one great year. He's had some decent years and some good years, and last year was mediocre.
Good halves, and then
one great year. He's got a little something to prove too. So
for me,
yes, sir.
I got the Commanders in fourth. I agree with what you said. Everything new is a lot to flip a switch on here.
It's a lot.
It's not the Niners a couple years ago when the first year under Shanahan and all that shit. Offense is going to be fun. Defense is going to be a learning
interesting.
Curve. They got some younger guys, but it's going to take a little while to get them going. I think very slow start, and I think they pick it up towards the end.
Yeah.
I got the Giants in third. I think it's the opposite. I think their offense is going to be a little weird to figure out, but their defense is going to be really good. Their front seven is ferocious. I like what they're doing there. Second place, I got the Cowboys, and I don't know what they're. Dude, you said it. Their offense, I just don't know if it's going to click this year. I don't. Listen, they got a lot of pieces back, but the run game, they lost 2-3 linemen. McCarthy on the hot seat. Their schedule is brutal.
Dude, they need to stay healthy too, because there's zero depth.
Correct.
Zero depth. If, God forbid, CeeDee Lamb doesn't play or he gets hurt,
Brandon Cooks is your number one receiver.
Who do you throw to?
Yeah,
who they throwing to?
Not great.
I don't know.
And number one, I'm with you with the Eagles. Weapons all over the place.
All over the place.
Sides of the ball. I think Sirianni figured some stuff out. They get that guy back. The rumor's been going, that right-hand man, that Dom guy.
Oh, he's back?
Dude, they're saying everything's like way different when he's there. They don't know. He's like a soprano. I don't know what's going on down there.
You know what else is interesting about the Eagles? You could say what you want about the way the season ended. They get Hassan Reddick, who was the noisiest one, out of the building.
Yeah.
Things have been pretty quiet in the offseason.
Very quiet.
Quiet is usually better. Quiet is usually better.
We like
chaos in Frisco, chaos in Dallas. Quiet in
chaos
Philly.
in Minnesota.
I guess chaos
in
Cincinnati.
Different
chaos with the Jets. Always.
Yeah. Chalking up to another year.
Thanks a lot.
Chaos in New England.
Maybe Aaron will play 6 plays this year. Anyway.
All righty.
Nice. I have a question for you before we get on to your game. I believe you have a game.
I have a little game.
I have a question for you because this came up, and apparently Carmelo Anthony was being interviewed, and I don't know what the fucking question was, but he basically said he would never trade in his gold medal for an NBA championship. He would never trade his gold medal for an NBA championship. What are your thoughts on that? Like, you're a former athlete. You played football. You played basketball. So I put this also in perspective. I put this in the perspective of Scotty Scheffler. So I was talking with someone about who had a better year this year. Scotty Scheffler with a major, like Xander. 8 wins and a gold medal, or Xander Schauffele with 2 majors. And I only said this, like, you can say what you want, but Scotty Scheffler won all those tournaments, including the majors, and he didn't cry at any of them. But he did cry when he won a gold medal.
Fair.
All I say is each person looks at it differently. Like, Carmelo Anthony might be just looking at it as like, hey, I don't think he wouldn't want an NBA championship.
So that's what I'm saying. It's easy to say when you don't have one.
You
don't have one.
It's easy to say if you do have one. Like, if he's an all-time great player. I don't necessarily love him, but he's an all-time great player. Does not have a championship. Would Dan Marino trade? I don't have anything for him to trade, but like one of his MVPs, it doesn't even rank. Like, if there was a way for him to get like a shuffleboard gold medal or something like that, would he trade his shuffleboard gold medal for a Super Bowl? My only point was it's tougher than you think, because representing your country and the gold medal opportunity only comes around every 4 years, which for most, even the elite athletes, means you might get about 3 shots, maybe 4 shots at it. Yeah, Steph Curry, this was his first.
Yeah.
So for those that say, oh, obviously the NBA championship is more important than the gold medal. I'm not saying an NBA championship isn't even more important, but having American gold, like, you won something for your country. There was no money involved. It was something so special. I don't think it's as easy to give up as everybody, or as some people try to make it out. So where are you at with that?
Well, Steph's a good example, because Steph has 4 rings and 1 gold.
Right.
Carmelo has 3 golds and nothing.
He has 3 golds?
I think so.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Kobe, LeBron, Durant, Durant
both.
Durant doesn't have a ring, but he does with the Warriors.
Multiple.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking somebody else. I was thinking Embiid. Listen, I don't know, man. I think both are obviously phenomenal. Your country's one thing, and listen, watching those games, we had last week's Serbia game on while we were doing this podcast. It was electric. And they ran away with every game until that,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
You're not doing it for salary. You're not doing it so much. Well, you are doing it for glory, more glory,
but different glory.
Different glory. I don't know. It's just not as easy to me. It's not so simple. Now, knowing that Carmelo Anthony has 3 golds, would I give up one of them for an NBA championship? Maybe I probably would.
Right.
But would you give up all your gold medals, or if you only have one? That's not as easy as you make it out to be, man. Here's why I say that too. Like, it's earned. I earned that. And I didn't earn the NBA championship. Like, there's something to be said about, like, I did earn it.
Well, look at Tyler, Halliburton. His first name Tyler?
The kid for the Pacers?
Yeah, Halliburton.
Yeah.
What's his first? Yeah. And Jason Tatum, for whatever reason, Kerr wouldn't play him.
Barely played, right?
They love to get in the gold medal. And Tatum's got a ring.
There's something special about that, dude. Like, when I hear these, it was Evan Cohen. I don't know if you ever listen in the morning with Evan, Canty, and Michelle kind of thing. He's a moron. He's the worst part of that show. And he's like, nobody would say this. You can't use words like nobody and always. Because I'm sitting here very much waffling on it, man. Like, obviously, as a former football player, I played college football. I dreamt of almost daily of holding up Lombardi Trophy. Like, it's unbelievable. But if you're going to tell me like there was some way that I could represent my country and in my entire country could be proud of me because I brought home gold in whatever I'm a good ping pong player, so maybe I could bring home a gold in ping pong. You think I would trade that in? Like, I get to keep that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like, and I know you want to get to keep a championship for the rest of your life, but it's different, man. There's national pride is different.
There's a wrong answer, dude, honestly.
I guess that was my way of looking at it. I was like, I'm not trying to say you're wrong that you would rather have the NBA championship than the gold medal, but don't condemn him. And what's so funny is Carmelo Anthony was always looked at as like materialistic, not making good decisions, making decisions based on money and feeling instead of like what's the smart thing to do. Yeah. Here's a guy who's like, sorry, like I'm not giving up these golds. Like a really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a moral decision that he's making there, and you're going to condemn him for that? Like he's an idiot? I think you're an idiot then. Yeah, like I think you're an idiot for condemning him.
I think Melo's just one of those guys people like to get on his ass.
I think you're probably right. But I was just looking at the idea of, would you rather? So like, look at the Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele thing. Who would you rather be? Like Xander Schauffele, if he likes the idea of a gold medal, you can't even compete for one for 4 more years.
Yeah.
And then there's one. There's there's 4 majors every year. Yeah. There's 1 gold medal every 4 years in golf. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. If you really think about it, the gold is actually more prestigious because you have less opportunity to get it.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And
so, listen, but also too, you could be on a bad NBA team.
For which
the USA team, you're on the best 12 guys, probably 12 of the best guys. Yeah. So
here's the other thing I wanted to bring up. You can go back and forth
on this all fucking night, dude. Honestly.
Here's the other thing I wanted to bring up. I hear these people saying like this team was better than the Dream Team in '92 because
no shot.
There was only like 6 international players then and 50 something now. 50 something now. How many of them are on the same team?
Yeah.
None. Yeah. None. They're on 55 different fucking countries.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or you might get 2 on a team.
Yeah, 2 on France.
We got 12. We got 12 of the best players in the world on one team. You got 2, maybe.
And 5 of them were legends. Like
legendary, right? Like, stop it. Like, don't compare, bro. Like, you think this team this year would have wanted to play that Dream Team? They would have got slaughtered. I'm sorry, they would have got slaughtered.
Agreed.
And that was even with a Larry Bird who was past his prime. He could barely play at that point. So, which is kind of sad in a way. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I think these questions of like, what would you do are not as easy as people try to make it out. Like, obviously you would want a Super Bowl over a gold medal. I don't know that, dude. I love my country. I feel lucky every day that I was born in America. Like,
right.
Come on, man. Like, if LeBron James was born in, what was it, South Sudan?
Yeah.
Is that who they played twice in the Olympics this year? Was it South Sudan? It's probably not even in the NBA. Instead, he's born in Cleveland, Ohio, and he's a goddamn billionaire. Like I don't know. What do you think is better? So I'm just saying, to put it in perspective, all right, dummies? There you go.
Peter,
I hear music.
Little game for you here before we get the trivia.
Yeah. I got music for your game, too.
I like it. I have a list of 8 guys.
I hate it already.
Legendary players who ended their careers with random teams. For example, Karl Malone, Jazz's whole career ended with the Lakers. Weird, right?
Oh, yeah.
Feels weird. Give me a list off the top of your head who you think fits that list.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little old school with a couple quarterbacks.
Please.
Johnny Unitas and and Joe Namath.
Yep, those are two on my
I
list.
think they both ended with either the Rams or the Chargers or some shit like that.
Namath went Jets to the Rams, and Unitas went from the Baltimore Colts to the Chargers.
Chargers, okay. Let me see.
And I got to tell you, there's a couple guys in here that I didn't know that the end of their careers were weird teams.
Are we only talking football or all sports?
No, all sports.
All sports.
Hold on, I'll give you a little hint here. I got 2 baseball, 3 basketball, and 1 hockey.
God, those are the 2 that come to mind. I'll be honest with you. I know you like this one, but seeing Peyton Manning in a Denver Broncos uniform was a little odd.
First of all, you pour yourself another drink and shut the fuck up.
I'm just saying it was odd. Just about as odd as it was.
If it was 1 year, but he played 5, so I think that takes a little bit of the odd away, at least.
For you.
Yeah.
Because you're a Broncos fan. It was odd to look at, right?
And he won a Super Bowl.
And he won a Super Bowl. And I'm going to say the same thing about the next guy who also won a Super Bowl. Tom Brady being in a Buccaneers uniform, although he looked good in it, like it looked good. I liked the way it looked. It just was odd.
The football player, the one I got is also old school.
What do you got? Tell me what it is.
Franco Harris went from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Seattle Seahawks. Did you know that?
I
had no idea.
I do now that you said it, but
Dude,
it didn't even cross my mind.
I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, it's a little funky.
Baseball should be pretty obvious. The guy just passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Who passed away?
Willie Mays.
With the Mets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
right?
For sure,
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is you hear old Mets fans, like older aged Mets fans, who felt lucky to have seen him to play baseball, but felt cheated because he was obviously not the same guy.
3 basketball, all kind of in the same era.
Well, listen, seeing Michael Jordan in a Washington Bullets or Wizards or whatever, I don't even know what the fuck the name of the team was.
I'd rather the Bullets. Forget this, the weird wizard on the thing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yep, that's one. These two pain me.
Give me the team that they ended on.
Toronto Raptors.
You're not talking like no. I was going to say Tracy McGrady, but he started
there.
Yeah. Who's that?
Akeem Olajuwon. Is that disgusting or what?
Ew.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Exactly my point of this game.
Are you sure?
Look at Google it.
I don't. That's gross.
Gross.
That's a crime.
I don't rather him playing for the New Jersey Jackals than the Toronto.
Oh my God. Or the Washington Generals, then that dude. Play against the Globetrotters.
1 more basketball, 1 hockey.
Give me the team that the basketball guy played for.
The Orlando Magic.
Is that Tracy McGrady?
No.
Who?
Patrick Ewing.
Oh,
Knicks.
See, this is hard for
Seattle
me to even
Sonics
think of.
And Orlando Magic.
You know,
disgusting.
I hated Ewing, but that's a sin.
Yeah.
It's a fucking sin. Oh my God.
And the last guy is your guy.
In hockey?
On the ice.
Don't tell me no, Brodeur retired. He did not retire a Devil? Who did he play for?
The St. Louis Blues.
1 season?
I believe so. Disgusting.
By the way, let's be real. Brett Favre in a Jets jersey and Minnesota jersey is a fucking crime.
Agreed.
It's
I want to keep it kind of quick, but
there's Aaron Rodgers right behind him doing the same exact thing. Jesus Christ.
I know.
What a sin.
All right, Petey.
You know what's funny, dude? You're right. When you see that, well, you know what's interesting? Great. Brett Favre had a great season with Minnesota, not with the Jets because of injuries, but he played fantastic with Minnesota. But it does feel funky.
I know
when it happened.
I mean, you could go to so many guys.
I thought those were about Brodeur. Oh my God!
I know.
Ugh. Now on the other side of it,
thank God that Hank Lundqvist got sick, but he tried to almost go to Philly.
Who?
Lundqvist, and then he got sick.
Okay, so
not even Philly. I forgot.
There was a guy who played. And this hurts me again as a Devils fan, but there was a guy who played for Boston for years that ended up leaving and going to Colorado.
Ray Bork?
Ray Bork, but
Yeah.
it ended up working out well for him
I
because
know.
they beat. Hello, why am I cursed? He ends up beating the Devils.
Hello.
They end up beating the Devils in the Stanley Cup Finals, and he gets his cup. So, oh
Crazy.
God, it fucking makes
Dude.
me sick. I look at my life and I'm like, why am I rooting for all these teams?
Devils won a few. You got a
They
few.
did. I can't complain.
All right, Petey. College trivia back again. Who holds the all-time record in rushing touchdowns at Penn State? Curtis Enos, Kajana Carter, Saquon Barkley, Blair Thomas.
God, it's such a good list. So Kajana Carter was on my mind before you gave me the options. Who was the last one?
Blair Thomas of Jet fame.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Cup of coffee. Cold cup.
Kajana Carter was
right
really
back to the
good.
Jets line.
That's always fucking Jets, man. It's like you just don't like me. Okay.
I love you.
I'm gonna say Kajana Carter.
They don't like you. It is Saquon Barkley.
Really?
He broke Kajana Carter's record, so you were
close.
Peter. Who holds?
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Do me a favor. Is this multiple choice?
Yeah.
Give me a chance to say a name that won't be my answer.
I love
but
it.
I want to see if it's one of your choices, one of your options.
I love it.
I'll give you my first instinct.
Who holds
if I have one?
Who holds the all-time record in passing touchdowns at the Met of Troy, Southern California?
All right, so of course, like Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer come to mind, and I'm thinking Matt Leinart is right at the top of the list because of the explosive players that they had in that team. So Matt Leinart is at top of mind. What are my options?
He's not on the list.
Shit. All right, great. That's not the answer then. Rob Johnson?
Remember. Yeah, he's on the list.
He's on the list. Okay.
So wait. So remember, Leinart handed the ball off to Lendo White and Reggie Bush on awful
lot. I know. He threw a lot of touchdowns too, though, but obviously not enough.
Matt Barkley, Carson Palmer, Rob Johnson, or Rodney Peete?
God, Rodney Peete was really good too, man.
Hot wife too.
Rob Johnson, Rodney Peete, Carson Palmer,
Matt Barkley.
You know, I'm trying to think of like what?
Was Matt Barkley a Jet? No, right? He was an Eagle.
If he was just for a minute, but I don't.
Back up.
I'm trying to think of like who had the years of starting. Because Carson Palmer, I think, left. Did he leave after his junior year? He won a Heisman. And
no, he won. No, he was like
as a senior.
He was like the Notre Dame guy. Ron Polis was the highly touted.
Oh yeah.
And then they gave up on him, and then he won a Heisman Trophy.
I'll say Rodney Peete.
Matt Barkley at 116.
Bitch.
Peter, you were 0 for your last five.
5 in a row. 5 in a row. I know. That says something about your trivia. It's good shit.
Thank you, buddy.
Fuck you.
All right. You want to do the same thing here? You want to guess first?
I'll give you my instinct. Yeah, I'll give you what I think off the top of my head.
Who holds the all-time record in receiving touchdowns at LSU?
All-time receiving touchdowns?
At LSU.
At LSU. So, like, Jamar Chase obviously comes to mind right off the top of my head. Although Odell Beckham comes to mind also.
Both on the list, sir.
Ay. I hope Malik Neighbors is not on that list.
He is not.
Good. Because then I'm thinking the other kid this year, he had like 21 touchdowns.
Brian Thomas, yep.
Is he on the list?
Nope.
Good. All right, give me your list.
Jamar Chase, Dwayne Bowe, Justin Jefferson, Odell Beckham. Oh, I took the wind right out of his sails. Out of his sail. He's looking 0-6 in the peeper right here, baby.
So give me the list again.
Who holds the all-time record in receiving touchdowns at LSU? Jamar Chase, Dwayne Bowe, Justin Jefferson, Odell Beckham.
I don't want to get it wrong. I don't think it's Odell Beckham. I don't think it's Justin Jefferson because he wasn't even the top Am I correct? Like he wasn't the number one guy even.
Chase was.
Right.
And they had another guy, Terrence Marshall, that went to the Carolina Panthers.
Did Marshall go before Jefferson in the draft?
No, he did not.
But they were, dude, that's a loaded team. Is that
Jefferson
Burrow's team?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. No wonder
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, dude, that team was sick, dude.
But you could say that they divided the ball. So Dwayne Bowe.
Yes, he's off the side.
Hey!
All right, buddy.
God. Jesus Christ. I was
love it.
Close, but no cigar often. And then
I love it.
Then finally nail one.
That was your first good elimination in your head, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, I always usually end up screwing myself.
The thing with Odell and that kid Brian Thomas, they only had that 1 year, like coming onto the team, whatever it was, like.
Right, and then the other guys, they just too many balls not enough balls to go around to everybody.
Mac, that's a good one too. Montana with KC.
I was just gonna say, I wanted to say that Bobby Mack, who's been watching and listening the whole time, he said Montana. When we're going back to like guys that look weird, hey, Montana with Kansas City. What about like Jerry Rice?
Yeah,
with the Raiders,
Seattle. A couple teams, I know.
That just seems not cool. So, there's that. Yeah.
There's a couple.
What are you watching this weekend, my man?
Got some golf on here. We got some preseason football. Yeah. We got some Yankees. Yankees are playing in the Little League game Sunday night at Williamsport with the Tigers.
Speaking of Yankees,
little kids hanging around, a lot of fun.
So cool. Man. Tim Kirchin was on ESPN Radio this morning talking about it's his second favorite event to be at. The World Series is number one. The Little League World Series is number two because he's just like all different shapes and sizes. There's everyone from like some kid who's like 4'11" to some kid who's already at 6'2", 12 years old.
From
crazy.
Hawaii and everything else.
All over the place. He loves it.
Yep.
By the way, you just talked about the Yankees. Aaron Judge, fastest in the history of Major League Baseball to 300 home runs. The question I'll ask you before we go, does he eventually take over Barry Bonds?
No, he's already
too
32
much.
Years old. He started late. That's the downside of him.
And no steroids.
I hope he gets to 5, and that'll be a Hall of Fame career and very cool. And
he'll get to 500. Yeah, he'll get to 500.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be watching the golf too this weekend. By the way, huge UFC event this weekend. Israel Adesanya against Duplessis. This is a fight that's been in the works. I don't think it's quite a year, but it was pretty good. It's pretty close to a year. These two guys are at the top of their game. This is not, this is one of my favorite things about UFC is they don't wait. Dana White doesn't wait for guys. He doesn't wait for fights. He doesn't wait for things to get perfect. In boxing, I feel like Mayweather versus Pacquiao, we saw it too late. We saw Triple G versus Canelo. It just was too late. Well, great fights, but we didn't see those guys fight in their primes. UFC doesn't fuck around.
Yeah, he makes to adjust to his schedule, which is
they put them together. Yeah. They put them together. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this one. These are, one of the things that I don't love watching with UFC is like when it's ground and pound, a lot of grappling and wrestling. Those are not necessarily the most exciting fights. These two guys they want to fight on their feet. They want to fight standing up. Lots of punching, lots of kicking. You're going to see blood, lots of swelling, and somebody get knocked out or choked out. So I'm super excited. Already trying to make plans. Like I'm thinking nap at 5 so that I can be up for the 10 o'clock start. It's going to be a really good card. If you're used to checking out UFC events, this is one that you definitely want to check out. So I'll be on top of that one.
Love it.
Maybe a little video after if I'm even awake, or who knows? You never
know.
So, do you have a Yankee game tomorrow night?
No.
Friday night? No Yankee game this week.
They're in Detroit.
Gotcha. Cool. Sounds good, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you all, Bobby Mack, for listening. Our condolences to the Mangano family. Yes. For Scott Bracey, this is Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Later.
Cool. All right,
awesome,
dude.
brother.
We're good to go.
Sounds good, bro. I'll see you later.
I'll have this to you later tonight.
Perfect. Later.
All right, my man. Later.